The film begins with a mother and daughter singing together, a French Christmas tune. Gwen is the mother, and Jules is the child. Later, Gwen is seen pacing inside her house. In the city, she's delivering a pitch for some sort of goods. She is clearly well educated, and speaks both French and English during her proposal. When a friend invites Jules to a luncheon at Eastern Prep School, we watch her and a couple of her pals going down the sidewalk. A group of girls uses contemporary technology to play a guessing game, until a drone flies overhead toward a burning building. Fisher, Gwen's employer, phones her in her high-tech futuristic workplace, and asks her for an essential in-person interview. As Gwen travels down several city sidewalks, he monitors her through multiple cameras. When Gwen meets Jules, the dialogue comes to an end. Her daughter takes precedence over her work. Jules's friends are quite thrilled by her mother's appearance. The mother and daughter chat at a nearby lake. Jules is given a present, an old pen she has long desired. We hear that women in this culture are losing their ability to bear children at an alarming rate. The few who can give birth do so in a very short period of time. Jules informs her mother that she has discovered that she may not have any eggs left by the time she reaches the age of 20. Gwen promises her that when she is older, she will be able to adopt children from different nations. That is, if she wants children. Jules appears very wise and bright for her age. Their talk is cut short when Jules receives an automated voice from Arcadia Prep School, informing her that her application has been declined, despite her stellar academic performance. Gwen and Jules are sitting on the couch at home, watching the news, which says that a rebel organization has claimed 4 strikes in the city. We observe Fisher talking to his employer Isa in his office. They are executives for the Center for Advanced Health and Life, a prestigious business that provides a process that is far superior to cosmetic surgery. They have the ability to transplant someone's consciousness onto a brand new, healthy body. We also discover that Gwen's previous statement was a component of her application to be the company's spokesperson in television commercial, which entails a large pay increase. Gwen is too old to appear in the company's advertising, Issa informs Fisher. Back at home, Gwen receives a phone call from Fisher, who informs her that she did not obtain the job, and that the firm would choose someone younger. She informs him that while Jules was not admitted to Arcadia, she was accepted into Eastern Prep School, where tuition has risen significantly. Before hanging up, he assures her that she will land on her feet. Gwen is preparing to leave home the next day when Jules stops her and asks whether she's going to the Eastern luncheon and if she got the raise. She assigns Jules the responsibility of alerting her friend that she will be attending the luncheon and avoids the question about the raise. Gwen then receives a phone call from a job recruiter who is attempting to help her find a new, higher-paying job. The recruiter suggests that she contribute her eggs while they hunt for more permanent employment, but she declines and instructs him to go elsewhere. Overhearing, a homeless lady advises her to accept any work she can get. Gwen then goes to the Advanced Health and Living Center, where she discovers that her credentials have been destroyed. She's been fired. Issa opens the door for her. She informs Gwen about her uncertain future. Gwen informs her that she wants to teach because she has college teaching experience. Issa mentions that AI is now doing all of the teaching, but she is certain that Gwen will get a decently paid job. Issa manipulates the subject by bringing up the challenging market and how women in their 50s struggle to find work, despite their qualifications and expertise. To make matters worse, she inquires about Jules and extols the virtues of a mother's love. Outside, Gwen contacts the recruiter to see whether anybody has expressed interest in employing her. She learns that some employers are looking into a specific issue with her career history. As she looks about at the bustling electronic metropolis surrounding her, she understands the recruiter is an AI and that the world is becoming more machine than human. Gwen checks her bank account later that day and discovers that she only has 743 units left, so she stops all automated payments. As the future becomes bleaker, she retreats to a relaxation room to reflect and plan her next step. She then buys the homeless woman some juice before picking up Jules from piano lessons. They go to a restaurant, but find it closed, with the owner inside counting and worrying about the money she's made. Jules suffers an existential crisis as they walk elsewhere. She sees the world as gloomy and full of selfish individuals out to exploit the innocent. She questions Gwen on why she had a kid as a single mom, knowing how difficult it is to survive and generate money in this environment. Gwen claims that there was a moment in her life when she was confused and heartbroken, but that when she met Jules, her life became worth living. She assures her that everything will be okay and expresses her love for her. The next morning, a concerned Gwen receives a message from her cousin Lily, inquiring about her well-being. Gwen does not communicate with her family, therefore she ignores them. Jules tells Gwen that they only have 1 week's worth of water left, showing that they are living paycheck to paycheck. Gwen promises to get paid tomorrow before she serves her breakfast. Later, we find Gwen at an Eastern luncheon, attended by pretentious and upper-class moms. These women believe Gwen is a scientist and the face of the famous Center for Advanced Health and Living. While this is somewhat correct, Gwen becomes angry when the group offers Jules a place in their exclusive children's camp, which upskills youngsters and assures a prosperous future. To enroll Jules, Gwen will need to donate 10,000 units. Jules requests that the payment be submitted within a few days, so the ladies advise her to have Jules's father pay. Gwen claims he's not in the picture. They respond that everyone should take advantage of it. Despite the fact that she is alone, Gwen sits on a park seat and observes the couples around her. Her thoughts are still flooded with those women's remarks. She maintains contact with her estranged mother. She apologizes for not communicating with her for a long time and requests money. Gwen's father claims that her mother is unable to help because she needs 40,000 units to get them through the month. Gwen's father has never met Jules, since Gwen, for whatever reason, forbids it. Her mother begs forgiveness and prays for her. She gets off the phone. Gwen is then seen on a video conference with Fisher. She requests that she go through the company's treatment to be implanted in a younger body so that she may be the company's spokesman. While Issa listens in on their talk, Fisher agrees to let her go through the operation. When Gwen and Fisher finally meet in person, he informs her that he couldn't say it because they were being filmed, but every test subject they've ever had has experienced respiratory problems. They've had to take an injection every 2 hours for a year to survive. He does not want her to get the operation. He claims Issa was expecting her to want the treatment. She organized the entire situation, forcing Gwen into a position with just 2 options: get fired or accept the surgery. He begs her not to go through with it and warns her that it will be far more perilous than she realizes. Gwen chooses to go through with the treatment in order to help her daughter. Gwen cautions her daughter at home that she'll have to change her look shortly for work and that she could be gone for a while. Gwen delivers diamonds to the elite camp the next day with the rich girls. Gwen goes to her cousin Lily's restaurant in the afternoon. Anne, Lily's husband, attempts to persuade her to leave before Lily discovers her presence. It's not a good moment, they say. Gwen breaks through the door and rejoins Lily. Gwen hasn't spoken to her cousin in years, and we discover why. Years ago, Gwen had with Han and had Jules as a result. This sparked a split in her family, but she had no idea Gwen had a kid or that it was her husband. Gwen approaches Lily for assistance in supporting Jules, but Lily declines. Gwen departs and goes to the facility, where she signs documentation to proceed with the process. She sits at home and explains the procedure to her daughter, who scrolls through many prospective corpses. She braces herself for this strange thought. Gwen and Jules travel to the clinic a month later, and Gwen has the operation. As Gwen's awareness is transferred, reality blurs, and a jumble of colors and lights fills the screen. We see Jules escorting a much younger Gwen up the stairs to their home, after a time gap. The new Gwen sleeps with her daughter. Gwen rehearses the identical speech about the operation that she had at the start of the film the next morning. Gwen delivers the speech during a press conference, announcing the new technology. Following the speech, the new Gwen dines with the socially privileged moms. As they eat, they all look at her with jealousy. Gwen returns home to find a note from Lily and Han, who apologize for making her so unhappy during her stay. They decide to give their assistance, but it is too late. Jules discovers Gwen on the kitchen floor that night because she forgot to take her breathing injection. Jules assists in its administration and saves her mother's life. The next day, Gwen nearly gets struck by a car while waiting for Jules outside of school. The next day, we find Gwen working as Jules studies and sings classical tunes aloud. Gwen urges her to turn it down, and Jules, puzzled, adds, "I thought you enjoyed that music." Gwen informs her that she does not want to hear it right now. Jules lashes out, yelling and demanding to know where her biological mother is. She informs her that she is not her mother. Jules tries to strike Gwen, but she is tackled and calmed down by Gwen. The next day, Gwen has a video conference with Fisher, expressing how she is constantly upset and how her relationship with her daughter is deteriorating. She informs Fisher that she's going to depart for a time to get away from Jules. Fisher later encounters Gwen on a dock and attempts to reason with her. He informs her that Jules requires her assistance as she transitions into a prep school and that she must be a helpful mother. We next witness a flashback of Fisher and Gwen meeting before the surgery at the same dock. He was attempting to persuade her out of it until he discloses that the operation creates a near-exact duplicate of the host's brain. Rather than transferring the consciousness, which is what they advertise, they duplicate it and entirely delete the original body's brain. Gwen essentially let herself be deleted in order to construct a duplicate of her brain. Fisher goes on to say that her clone brain would awaken in a new body with Gwen's memories and believes she is the actual Gwen who had the treatment. Gwen makes Fisher vow not to inform on the gems. If the former host had any mental disorders or aggressive tendencies, these may have lingered, even with a new brain and conscience. Back in the present, Fisher attempts to persuade the new Gwen to care for her daughter before collapsing and having to take one of her injections. Back at home, we find Gwen going through old photographs of herself and her family. Jules takes Gwen's breathing injections and conceals them in another room. Gwen tells Jules that the real Gwen is gone and she did it herself. Jules is skeptical about her accusation that the new Gwen has a respiratory attack till Jules goes to get her medication. She shoots her and tends to an unconscious Gwen. Gwen and Jules enjoy a beautiful moment over breakfast the next morning as they chat about the original Gwen and how she looks elderly. Before going to see Lily and Han, they go through old family photos. When Lily meets the new Gwen, she bursts into tears. Later, Gwen, Jules, and a buddy go on a picnic. They dance together while waiting for Han and Lily. Jules wonders whether they'll abandon them, but the couple appears. They have 2 sons who find it difficult to communicate with their separated relative. However, after a time, they all relax in the sun, and the kids bond and enjoy the fun at the park together.